Ladies and gentlemen, let me warmly welcome you to our second day of the Berlin Demography Days, the European Demography Day. Before I start, I would like to make some technical remarks. We have a simultaneous translation. You can click on the globe on the bottom of your screen, and there you can access the language which you would like to follow during the whole event. Meine Damen und Herren, bevor wir starten, darf ich noch einen kurzen technischen Hinweis.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we start, a quick technical remark. You find simultaneous interpretation by clicking on the globe at the bottom margin, and you can now select also the language in which you want to follow this event.
All over the day, the Q&A, if you have any question or comments. You see also the button Q&A at the bottom of your screen, and there you can insert your questions to the panelists. My third remark is that we will perform this seminar also on YouTube, and it's recorded for that purpose. So, warm welcome to the second day. We yesterday already had very nice panels and also an amazing evening event. Hope you were able to join us. My name is Andreas Edel. I'm the Executive Secretary of Population Europe. And together with our co-organizer, Diakonie Deutschland, and Oelschlägel is here in the room, and we'll talk to you in a minute, we created this Berlin Demographies as a platform where eminent expert and decision makers from science, from policy sector, from society, from the economy, can talk to each other, discuss with you about demographic change. And we do so in Germany, in Europe, and at the global scale worldwide. Some years ago, one of our fellow demographers compared demographic change with a wave which is out to be seen somewhere in the sea, and it rolls towards the beach. And if you know how the sea moves, you can even calculate when this wave will arrive at the beach. And this will definitely happen in the next 2 decades. So the wave will arrive. So, for instance, the last cohorts of the baby boomers will reach retirement age. And this is what we discussed last year at the Berlin Demography Days. We can see that population diversity increases, age, family, whatever demographic pattern you take, you can see that the diversity of our populations increases. And this is often combined with social inequality and, of course, affects social cohesion. This is what we discussed in 2019. This year, we look into the situation of younger people. So questions of political participation, intergenerational fairness, the concerns younger people have about their future, changing life course of younger people today, and finally also new political strategies tailoring these issues and solving or offering solutions for younger people. Let me thank our partners. Most of all, of course, the Diakonie Deutschland, and in particular, the President Ulrich Lilie, Christian Oelschlägel, and Claudia Keller, who really very intensively collaborated with us and we with them to make this happen. Second, I would like to thank the German Youth Institute, Deutsches Jugendinstitut, namely Sabine Walper, you could see her yesterday on the panel, Birgit Reisig, who was also panelist yesterday, and Jens Potmann, who was a moderator yesterday. Then the OECD, and here particularly Monika Gweiser, who was yesterday moderator, and then today Verle Miranda, Miriam Allam, and Shunta Takino, who will perform today some of these panels as keynote speakers, moderators, and commentators. Then my fellow colleague Nico van Nimwegen, who speaks for our partner, the European Association for Population Studies, so the scientific arm of the demographers in Europe, and at the same time for the IUSSP, the International Union for the Scientific Study of Population, our worldwide association of demographers. Particular things, of course, I would like to express to my team, Susanne Höp, Önder Muti, Mahalia Thomas, Daniela Fono, and Heike Walter, who did really a great and amazing job to make this forum and this Demography Days done. My particular gratitude, of course, goes to the 50 speakers, discussants, and panelists who, with their expertise, will contribute largely to the success of this event. So I have really honored to say how much I'm grateful that we managed to get such an eminent group of experts together to discuss about the issues we have at hand. Finally, let me also express my gratitude, our gratitude to the sponsors of this Berlin Demography Days. So most of all, the German Federal Ministry for Family Affairs, Senior Citizens, Women and Youth, and then the Federal Ministry of Health and the Federal Ministry of Interior and Community, which is mainly also in charge of demographic change. The Global Demography Day has been funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. I would also like to express my gratitude to the colleagues in Seattle for that. And with that, I would like to wish us all an exciting European Demography Forum. Thanks a lot for all your contributions. And by that, I hand over to my colleague Nico van Nimwegen.
Thank you very much, Andreas, for your welcoming words. And dear colleagues, good afternoon and hello to everyone. I have the extreme honor to represent not only one, but two scientific associations, because this is the European part of the Berlin Demography Days. I will start with the European Association for Population Studies, and on behalf of the Council of EAPS, I'm very happy and proud to be here. But I also represent, as Secretary General, the International Union for the Scientific Study of Population, and the focus on the global issues will of course be tomorrow, but also on behalf of that council, a very warm welcome. We are all, as demographers, very proud to be here and to be part of these very exciting Berlin Demography Days. This is already the second edition, and we hope that it will be continued. It's a very great tradition started by our friends in Population Europe and our other partners. Demographers are usually strongly associated with, and they have a very strong focus on population aging. But what a lot of people tend to forget, that population aging is not only about the elder population or only the population in the middle, but the population aging is also about the younger generation. And because a lot of people tend to forget that, we are very happy that the focus of this version, this edition of the Berlin Demography Days is on the younger population, and with some very great topics, the voice in politics, the attitudes, the life course, and of course policies. This is Population Europe, the policies that can support younger generations. So we're looking at a very exciting program. So without further ado, I'll pass the floor on to the next speaker, and we look forward to a very great exchange of ideas, which can also be continued, of course, and this is my last words, at the upcoming European Population Conference, which will convene in just a few weeks in the Netherlands. So we can continue our discussions there, but now on to the next speaker, and thank you for joining us.
Ja, sehr geehrte Damen und Herren, auch von meiner Seite aus ein herzliches Willkommen zu European Demography.
Ladies and gentlemen, also from my part, a cordial welcome. We are happy as Diakonie Deutschland. We are happy that we can co-organize this event. I readily would reply in thanking Andreas Edel from our end for the excellent cooperation. If you attended yesterday's event, well, you have certainly also seen in the Berlin Demographic Forum a number of issues turning around the topic of the youth or younger people. Very deliberately, we picked this topic because normally you tend to look only at older generations. Therefore, it was a very appropriate choice to focus on the younger people, because the younger generation has been hit by the experience of several crises. Our impression is that the voice of young people quite often is neglected in politics, and we think it is more than appropriate to deal with this topic. And let me also briefly introduce you into the four lead categories or lead questions that guided us in our preparation of this event, and that will be also on our mind on the European Demography Forum, and will structure the course of events. First, we want to perceive how the voice of younger people is listened to and how they experience themselves in their efficacy. On the one hand, the generation greater has arrived on stage in politics. Young people have become heavily involved in politics. On the other hand, however, we also see that many young people have the feeling, well, properly speaking, they cannot execute any political power. Rather, they feel excluded from political power. So we want to delve into this question. What is the voice of younger people in politics and how do they perceive themselves? This regards not only climate change, but also so many other areas. Yesterday, we discussed quite intensely the topic of participation in democratic processes, the topic of voting age. Well, these are certainly issues that are going to play a role today. Times of crisis are times that always imply the risk of drifting apart in societies. What can we do to strengthen social cohesion and to enable young people to contribute to the success of this society by participating in it? Young people are quite often seen as a homogeneous group. We talk about the young, the youth, the adolescents, but it's also more important to differentiate and to take a more differentiated look at this cohort. What is the true composition of this group of people? What seems to be a homogeneous block of people turns out to be something quite different because there are socio-demographic differences in all its diversity. A second major issue that will be on our minds is the question about the attitudes and expectations, aspirations, especially when it comes to crisis. What is the crisis resilience? As I said already, we are deeply informed by the experience of crisis. Question is, how can especially those people who are disadvantaged cope with it? Yesterday, we took a first glance at the resources that are available to young people and how can they get through these times of crisis. We talked to quite a number of students from various schools, from various European countries. We listened to their experiences, their narratives. What have they experienced during COVID lockdown in terms of formal and informal education? And we also looked ahead. What will be the future? How will their current educational situation influence their further health, the family planning, their professional career? So, on a third panel, we are going to discuss, well, the life course, because the life course offers an excellent perspective to follow along the lines of these questions. What decisions are taken that will heavily influence the entire further course of life? So a special panel will be dedicated to this question. What will be the outlook for the COVID generations, but not only COVID crisis, but also the experience of other crises these younger generations have been subject to. Probably the life course will no longer be as linear as it might have been in the past. That seemed to be rather programmed by a clear succession of steps: education, vocational training, professional career, and then pension. What will be the alternative outcome? We will also ask ourselves, what can politics do? Which policies exist already? Which new policies are needed? What services, educational services need to be provided? What types of political participation, be it on a local level, up to the national level? We touched already upon the issue of voting age. So what can politics do to support young people and to enable them to integrate themselves or to participate in our society appropriately? I'm very happy to see that we can discuss this with you with a big bunch of experts, and as a co-organizer, I feel deep gratitude to you, that you bring in your expertise. And I would invite also all other participants to join in and to chip in their contributions, comments, questions, and to share their insights with us.